I'm Sonny Zapeta, voice of the Raiders, your host for tonight's show. Alongside me is the man, the head coach of the Rouse Raiders, Josh Mann.
What's going on, man? It's good to be here. Labor Day, but we're still grinding away, working. It's exciting.
You guys still practiced this morning?
We did. It was great morning.
Have a radio show and talk about the big win from Friday night. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. We also want to thank our producer. You can't see him on camera, but he is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Chuck Licata, who's joining us tonight. And also our QA back in the K-Max studios, Merle Bertrand, who will be making sure Chuck's doing his job tonight. So there you go. We're just going to jump right into it, Coach, and get through this. But before we do that, we have to start the show off properly.
Yes.
And we have to wish somebody a happy birthday.
Whose birthday?
I think.
Oh, my wife. Yeah, Brandy. It's my wife's birthday today. I won't give away the age. She was born in 1980 though. Yeah, and so no, we've had a good day so far. You know, obviously had practice this morning, got home. She's pretty easy, so we kind of hung out. We got dinner cooking right now at the house, so it'll be a good evening. We kind of celebrated a little Saturday, so it's great, and I'm obviously blessed because she's about the best coach's wife out there. Is the best coach's wife out there.
Yeah, so I guess that's what women do these days is they celebrate the entire month that their birthday happens.
Yes, no.
Oh, well, you know, I don't even get to really celebrate the day, but that's a different story. So, well, we also want to thank our sponsors. And our featured sponsor, we want to thank them, is Zaxby's, host of Inside Raider Nation, but featured sponsor of the Rouse Raider football this 2018 season. And also the Fan Club, Mighty Fine Burgers, Rudy's Barbecue, State Farm Insurance Agent Richard Munoz, Bush's Chicken, and Mad Training. Also PDQ, IT Backbone, Chicken Express, Whitestone Physical Therapy, Austin Telco, Smile On Orthodontics, Walks It To You. You have to be careful when you say that. Serrano's, Shop 1431, Shiny Dental, Safeguard, Dos Salsas, Club Z Tutoring of Cedar Park, The Tri-Doc, and also Rouse Youth Football Association, which, by the way, they will be starting their games coming this weekend. So next Monday we should have some players of the week from RIFA who are always a benefit to our show because They're very honest. They're very honest, sometimes almost too honest. I'm sure the parents are, a little nervous when they get up here and maybe tell on them a little bit. So we want to jump into it. Obviously, Friday night, 34-13, season opening win. And Coach, talk a little bit about, and I know every year, maybe as you get older, you're aging just a little bit. We all are. Was this Friday night any different, atmosphere-wise? Electricity in the to me it just felt every opening night for the last 5 years, every night feels different. Did it feel different to you?
A little. Anytime you open at home versus on the road, you got a little bit of a different feel just because the energy and excitement that comes with the stadium. I think too, and opening against a crosstown opponent like Vista Ridge right out the gate, we haven't done that ever. And in our time here, we've always opened up with somebody that's outside of our area or, across the tracks over in Pflugerville or somewhere like that, Manor. Those have been a lot of our common. And, this year you're taking that, kind of having that rivalry game, even though I don't really, I think there's still a struggle to say there's rivalries in Central Texas. There's some. You get out in the rest of the state, they're a little bigger probably, but definitely we know them, they know us, the coaching staff's know them. I think it's a healthy rivalry though, where you definitely want to beat them, but you're still rooting for them all year long. So it was cool from that, and I think that brought the excitement because they brought a great crowd. And anytime you get a crowd like that, it's going to put a little more intensity in the air and a little more tension on the start of the season.
So obviously, every game that I can remember talking to you about the season opener, and even really during the season, it's always we need to start fast, we need to start good, we need to have those things happen for us in a positive way. And not to harp on it, but let's talk a little bit about that opening series. It looked like week one. It really did.
It looked like pre-week one, like we didn't have two scrimmage or worked on any practice. And kids were so geeked up, and coaches were geeked up. I mean, we're all excited. And, we have some transition that are coming in. And until you can scrimmage all you want. You can do all the preseason games you want. You can do all that. But until it's live, at the stadium with everybody else around. And part of the issue too is, our headset struggled all night. We got all the new toys and bells and whistles that are at the stadium now, but there was a lot of interference with the connection with our wireless mics, so that caused a little bit of trouble getting some things communicated from the box down. New offense, I think, Coach Cowling calling the offense for the first time live during the game. That also changed the roles, of Coach Elrod and Coach Clark and Coach LaPaglia. And, that's their first time really under that pressure doing that. And then just not even mention, the kids on the field. So I think, we kind of started off, unfortunately, we were really all expecting a much better start to the game, not a 3-and-out. But luckily for us, the defense was ready for that scenario. And we have a lot more veteran probably overall leadership on the defensive side, so I don't think that's why it caught them off guard as much.
And you look at the first 4 series, 2 for Rouse and 2 for Vista, and it seemed like the punt units were going to be busy that night because the first 4 possessions of the game were punts. And I believe they had a 9-play drive that stalled out. And again, defense came up big at critical times in the game. And we talked about it in our kickoff dinner. We talked about it last week. I think this group is going to surprise some people, and I think the strength of them, and just when they start getting a little bit of confidence, I mean, we know Ugo and Isaiah can talk. Yes. We know that they can bring it, but I think collectively they fed off each other, and there was that bend but don't break mentality, but I think at critical times, once they got that confidence, you came on the field and it was a different feel from the defense. Like we knew we were going to get a stop.
Oh, yeah, they didn't have a doubt all night. They were really frustrated with the one series that we gave up, the long one and the quick touchdown right there in the second quarter. But, no, they take the field pretty possessed. I mean, they're coached hard. I mean, the defensive coaches are intense coaches. We're relentless in practice with that. We're constantly on those guys, but the potential for them is unlimited. And, there's things we definitely got away with. There was a couple big plays that honestly could have gone either way a couple times, and that would have really maybe changed some of the game. But, we're always going to say that after a win. Oh, gosh, well, we got lucky there. Boy, if it wasn't for this, who knows? And then when you lose, well, if we're just one play away, we're there. So it's kind of devil's advocate on that. But I thought defensively they were locked in, focused. They did a couple things throughout the first half there after the first couple series. Like we got the punts, and then they jumped into – they kind of changed their blocking scheme up front. We hadn't seen them really run a base scheme like they did, and it caught us a little off guard. We had to get the safeties back down on the box more than what we were anticipating early. But we got the guys to do that, and they adjusted well, and especially after halftime, really adjusted well. They got us a couple times on some good motion, some really tough – they're tough because they get in so many formations, an unbalanced tackle over 4-man, and all that different stuff with the motions. Week 1, that's a lot to be thrown at you, and our guys responded really well.
They look like they adjusted, especially going into halftime. I think coming out in the second half, they really looked like the adjustments were made. And I know that there were problems with the headset because Coach Cowling sits right next to us in the booth next to us, and he was yelling, thinking maybe that was the problem. And it was like, wow, I've never heard him yell. Usually I can kind of hear him, but 9 times out of 10.
At practice he yells.
Yeah. He raises his voice. He never yells, right, Coach?
Right.
And because you never yell either.
I never have.
Just raise your
right,
voice.
Ugo, never? No, yeah.
Never, Ugo. No. He just raises his voice loud enough that you can hear him, right? To make no mistake that you can hear him. But looking through here, one of the plays, and I know we'll talk about our players of the week, the first points this season by Braden Skinner, the kicker.
Absolutely.
24-yard field goal. And then it was kind of back and forth. It was a fumble that I don't really maybe I looked and blinked for a minute. I don't know how that fumble happened in the first half. And then the next time that Vista Ridge got the ball before halftime was interception by our player of the week, Ugo.
Well, and he got the fumble as well. It was probably it was one of the more impressive plays I've seen during the game. He comes up. Obviously, Mayberry is very good. And to give him a lot of credit, he's a fast, athletic kid, and 1,000-yard rusher returning. We knew that our goal was to try to take him out of the game as much and let that quarterback run if they were going to do it. And they made some adjustments where we couldn't no longer. They quit running zone read and just based it to him. And so the safeties were kind of in some of those sets back because we felt like we could make the ball get out of his hands, and then it started putting the safeties to make tackles on the space, which we did most of the night on. And Ugo came in. I can't remember who the other young man that was fit on him, and he's kind of going down, and you just see it from the end zone shot. Ugo is just yanking just pulls the ball out, and then if he doesn't kind of stumble coming around, nobody knows he has the ball, and had a chance, but broke. We got to work a little more ball security afterwards because we almost gave it back to him on the ground. That was where the scramble came because he had it for it felt like 5 seconds watching it. He had the ball by himself, trying to figure out, I got to get out of here. Everybody leave me alone. I'm trying to get away and go score. And as he in the process did that, he got hit, tripped up. He put the ball back on the ground but got back on it, and that was a huge play. And then the interception, like you said, was a huge play because they had some momentum. They'd hit us in some weak spots we had not adjusted to yet, and those 2 plays that he made gave us opportunity at halftime to make the adjustments. If not, that score would have been a little different there, and then it would have been a little tougher pill to figure out.
As we go into the second half, we look. The first offensive series was by Vista. They deferred to the second half, chose to receive, and it was a turnover on downs. Again, defense stepped up and stopped them there. Then we got back to the punt, and then it was opened things up a little bit about, I believe it was in the fourth quarter, about 10:43 left to go, was when Rouse took the lead 10-6 at that point. And then things started to kind of unravel for Vista. It was a punt snap that went out of the end zone for 2 more points. It was 12-6 at that point. And then Ethan with the 4-yard runs, 2-point conversion, 20-6. And then it was a fumble by Vista Ridge, and then Tavian got his second touchdown of the night, 27-6. And then a 4-yard touchdown run by Tavian with 2:53 left to go in the fourth quarter. And it just seemed like he was finding his rhythm. I know we looked at the stats and kind of some of the Milan's rushing. He was held under 40 yards rushing, which, thunder and lightning is what we call them. I guess lightning was striking all night because they couldn't stop it. But they seemed to be keying in on Milan. Did you get that feel, or was that just
a little? I mean, there was a little to that, and it was just kind of the way the game kind of bounced that way. We were driving the ball when we settled for the field goal in the second quarter there. We were driving the ball, and then honestly, in all purposes, if we don't make a couple of mental errors on that drive, Ethan got very aggressive, and if he continues to give Milan the ball, Milan walks in and scores. I have no doubt on that. And then, as the second and third quarter, we had drives where we were getting what we want, but then we would shoot ourselves, we would stumble, we would kind of fall off, and it was just that figuring out the system and letting it come. And then you obviously saw what you told there is the fourth quarter, it clicked. It hit in waves, and just the way the personnel, Milan was going to have many games here that he's going to be on the other end of that, 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. He's going to have those nights, and Tavion may not have all the numbers. It's going to be hit or miss, and now that you add Ethan into that equation running the ball, I don't think anybody's going to sit there and say, well, we got to stop Milam or we got to stop Tej or you got to figure out a plan to stop all 3. And when you have that opportunity and those weapons, it really creates a lot more offense. And we're just scratching the surface on what we're doing there. I know we can throw the ball better than what we did in that game. That just was there. They stayed out of the box, and you're going to stay out of the box. Well, here's Tavion, and here's Milam, here's Ethan. Get at it. We weren't not going to pound our heads into something just to do it. And that was kudos to the offensive staff staying patient, because I played many of offensive coordinators that, don't worry about it. And not to say Vista did that. There was 2 sets. If Vista kept getting in, I'm not sure if we would have got it fixed in time before the bleeding got real bad. And some people was what we call picking the scab. If it's broke and they're not fixing it, let's see how long it takes them, and why not keep doing it until they fix it. And our offense coaches did a great job of that. Not just, we worked these other things, let's run them. No, this is working. Stay with it. They did a great job.
And so Tavian Tate, 90 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and he's also up for nominated for Student Athlete of the Week. You can find that at FanStan on Twitter, or even RouseFootball.com has that link, so go vote for him. He had a great night carrying the ball. Anytime you put 3 touchdowns in against a good Vista Ridge defense and a very heavy senior-laden team on both sides of the ball. And when you saw the score at halftime, 6-3, you thought, this is going to be kind of what you like, that defensive battle.
Yeah. I like defensive battles when they only got 3 and we got about 30. I like those defensive battles a lot better. But it was funny. I never felt like I felt we were doing what we wanted to, and when we stayed on task and didn't get off pace, the game was ours. I never felt the sideline flustered. I never felt doubt. I think we were there all night, and then, we kept chipping away, and when the big plays came, we pounced on it. They were hungry like a bunch of dogs ready to go, where I think Vista kind of it shell-shocked them a little bit, and they kind of got down. And I was glad to see our killer instinct to put, I hate to say it, but put your foot on the throat and take their will away now. And we did break their will, and that's neat to see a team have that, especially right at the start of the season.
I mean, a 12-yard drive capped off by the Tavian Tate touchdown, and then they snap it through back of the end zone, and it felt like at that point they weren't going to recover. Yeah. And from that point, it was 12-6, and then 20-6, 27-6, and then the final score 34-13. And I know from a defensive standpoint, you even look at 13 points and go, well, that's not bad, but you always want to get less than that. And I know those guys on the defensive side do.
Yeah, I love shutouts. Those are huge and important. I'm never going to risk it at the, obviously, some people will let your twos go in, and if they get close, all right, one's back in, we're keeping the shutout. No, we got to play through that adversity with that group. And that was a great learning opportunity for those guys in that scenario late. I was really proud of our intensity. It did feel when it got to 13-6, or was it 12-6?
12-6.
12-6. That's how good we were playing on defense at that point, because I think even for them they felt suffocated at that point because we were making that many consistent stops. And then if we can do that now, I have no doubt, though, that tide's going to flip. And, we're getting the offense is going to be out there 40. We're going to be giving up some because that's football, and especially in the spread football era, that shoe's going to be on the other foot here pretty soon for our team. And I'm looking forward to that night, too, as well.
So let's talk a little bit about our players of the week. We'll go through here and read Teacher of the Week. We have a Teacher of the Week that we honor each and every week, and this week it was
Jeff Paris. And we were really nice. Our coaches do a great job. They get in there. They're in all those meetings with them and the PLCs. They get the interaction, and that's something that our coaches want to make sure we recognize them and what their groups are doing. So that was really neat that we started that process.
And, of course, our varsity Special Forces Player of the Week, none other than the kicker, Braden Skinner.
Yeah.
He did extremely well. And I even look at his kickoffs right in the corner, about a yard, 2 yards deep. And then there was a couple of times that they didn't even try to return it. They just let it go over their head for a touchback. But I thought he did really well. And to bang a 24-yard field goal, knowing how nervous he was going into Friday night, being the only guy, what do people yell at me? What if I miss? So it was all his things. But, it was the execution from Driscoll to Henson to Braden Skinner putting it through the uprights.
Yeah, they had a very aggressive scheme and questionable because they were pulling our tackles and creating run-through lanes, which you're not supposed to be able to hold. But it's effective. We got to defend against it because it doesn't get called near enough, honestly, on that stuff. But for him, I was so proud of him because there was pressure. He didn't look up, kept his head down, and went through his process and kicked it. And, of course, kickoff is such a huge momentum deal. When you can kick that thing, and we had some big hits. Dak Bishop had a great big tackle, and that set us on tone, and that changes because, you give up a big return to start the year, you're worried about that every time you kick off. Right. And instead, our guys went out there like hungry dogs, and they were ready to get after it. So, him putting in that back left corner deep, that's a nightmare to field. It's right on that line. I hope we continue to do that, and I hope people just have to fair catch that because you get the ball at the 25, which I was surprised after the first or second one they didn't just fair catch it and bring it out to the 25 but it's right on that line, and you have to make those kids make those decisions. And sometimes we had the one bust, but other than that, I was best probably kickoff coverage we've had all year in a while.
Yeah. So. The first play of defense is that kickoff, and so Braden being the Special Forces Player of the Week.
Yep.
Offensive Player of the Week, Tavian Tate, with his 3 touchdowns and 90 yards. And then also our Defensive Player of the Week was Colin Dickinson. And our Varsity Player of the Week, who's joined us here today, Ugo.
Yeah.
We just call him Ugo.
Just Ugo.
That's all. It's like the Brazilian soccer players. You just give them one name. Ugo's got it. That's his name, Ugo.
He's special. Been fortunate to have him up last year as a sophomore. He sat one game from the JV, and then after that we brought him up. He immediately impacted the Westwood game that year. He's a football player. He really is. He's fun to have on the field. And what's scary is we're just scratching the surface with him as he continues to develop in the game, continues to understand the concepts and some things. boy, it's going to be scary. It's going to be a lot of fun the next at least 9 games or more, and only know that he's a junior coming back doing it. It's about to be as a guy that's helped with offenses. When you got that safety that's lurking back there, that you're like, he can cover and he can fill the box. So we're going to read him, but he may make us look bad either way. And when he comes, there's a little bit of authority. And he'll let you know sometimes when he's there too on the field. So I'm real excited about him. He's still got a long ways to go, but he's getting there fast, and he's really fun to have around too. He lightens the mood up. Sometimes we can be real serious, and him and Cash can make us a little nervous and a little crazy at times, but they're definitely a lot of fun to have back there.
Yeah, we haven't come up with a nickname for those two yet, but I'm sure before the end of the year.
That's y'all's job. I mean, come on, what are we doing?
Well, I'm thinking like Deion Sanders. He used to be the best at being able to get people mentally out of their game, but then also backing it up.
Yeah.
So
these guys
I haven't decided if that's Cash or if that's Ugo, but we'll come up with it, and I'll okay it with him.
I would
go
like Atwater, Steve Atwater. That's a good one.
That's
You'll probably have to look him up. You know who Steve Atwater is? Yeah, I didn't think so.
We'll look it
up. Ronnie Lott?
Ronnie Lott.
You know who Ronnie Lott is?
Safety? Oh,
Safety? Okay, good. All right, we're all right then.
I still like Ugo. Let's talk about our Scout Team Player of the Week.
Yep.
That was
Giovanni Reali.
Or is Justin?
Oh, no. No, it's Justin was week 1.
Or Scout Team Player of the Week.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. It is Justin Tighe. I'm got you. Well, I saw Gianni. My bad. No, Tighe, and he's probably going to be up for it again this week. That dude he's become a workhorse. You know, he's a junior right now on the JV that, really wants to play up and wants to play on varsity, but he understands his role right now. And he comes over there. He not only gets himself lined up, he gets the other guys in the scout team lined up, and he's yelling at those younger sophomores like, come on. And it's hard for a sophomore then to not take it serious when that junior's over there taking it as serious as he is and investing the time he does. Tighe's one of my favorite kids in the program. He's got great energy. He cares a lot. He's always bubbly. He's trying so hard every day to get better, and so it's really fun to have him out there.
And so him and Giovanni, who is the junior varsity player of the week, kind of switched those roles from Giovanni being the scout team player of the week last week. And then also junior varsity offensive player of the week was Will Jordan. Mm-hmm. Josh Hagan was the defensive player of the week for the JV. And then special forces player of the week, another kicker, Will Fisher for the JV. And then we go down to the freshman A player of the week, TJ Oliver. EJ Moore was the offensive player of the week for the freshman A team. And then a defensive player, freshman A team, was Connor Dean. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the freshman B. So and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but just the luxury of having 2 teams to be able for them to get quality time. Jacob Tackdahl was the the player of the week for the freshman B. Offensive player of the week for the freshman B team was Anthony Hornsby. And then the defensive player of the week was Nathan Barag. So talk a little bit about that freshman group. How is it a luxury? Because you always worry the transition into high school academic-wise. Yeah. We've seen that always happen, but then injuries, and then now you have to combine and adjust schedules and everything. But talk about now that you have 2 teams, talk about the progress of those kids so far. It's good having 2 because they get more time. Anytime, you can't trade time on the field. It's the ultimate learning. If you use it the right way, those kids will focus on those tasks. It definitely creates that opportunity for them. To get that playing time. It's a little tough for us, honestly, right now. We are able to make 2, but we're so thin on the 2 that sometimes we're having to pull a few guys out of maybe a position that they're going to probably settle to in a couple of years just to get it in because our depth still is not growing like we want down at the sub-varsity level there. But these 2 groups are these 2 A and B freshman teams are really good. They struggled this last week. The thing about that with them is we're combining kids from 2 different programs. And not only that, now with Wiley Middle School, some of that going to Glenn and losing those kids, they're having to form a whole new bond. So, yes, they're out there. They know the playbook. They know the scheme. But I don't know you real well yet. And so when that chemistry continues to grow, it's not like some other programs that have them all, and they all play together 6th grade, and they all play together 7th and 8th. This is a combined group, and they're still
going. I know that we didn't play up to our standard last Thursday night on both either the JV or freshmen, but I had no doubt that they're going to get it fixed, that they're going to come around. Both groups are going to be major contributors. We had a great showing out of our freshmen today on Labor Day. Usually they're the group you're like, we might see a few of them. They were up there in force. They did a great job stepping in some roles for other guys, so real excited about what those two programs are going to bring us.
Well, we want to recognize all the players of the week, but we're going to recognize the varsity player of the week who's joining us here today. Yep. Ugo, come on up. He looks like he's looking forward to this.
He's super excited, I can tell.
All I know is he's got a nice shirt on. Chuck, if you can focus in on that shirt, that's a nice shirt you got on. All right, Ugo, make sure that that's on. There's a button.
You're on.
Hello.
There we go.
You go. All right. Talk to us a little bit. Introduce yourself.
My name's Ugo. I play safety, and this is my second year being on varsity.
Okay, so you do have a last name. Can you tell everybody your last name?
Ugo Semini.
Okay. And free safety, talk about Friday night. What was the best thing, besides the win? The fumble recovery, the interception. What was the best thing about Friday night?
I mean, it was the energy, man. There was a lot of going into that game, a lot of bragging rights. We went in there with a lot of confidence. Like, we knew that we can come out with the win. Defense, we had to come together. I mean, we went out on the field a lot, but we didn't let that stop us. We came out there every time wanting a 3-and-out, wanted them to get off the field to give our offense a chance. And every time we did that, it just felt really good. So.
Hey, how was the crowd? Did you feed off of that big? That was a pretty big crowd there.
It was some serious, man. There were a lot of people there cheering for us, and it felt really good to know that the fans had our back.
So we're going to ask them to show up at Nelson Field on Friday against
Yes,
Anderson, right?
Yes,
they got to be
sir.
loud. Okay, talk a little bit about being free safety. Talk about your mentality, because you're kind of in that tough situation where you got to support the run, but you also got to be in pass coverage. Favorite thing to do? Support the run or cover?
Support the run, especially knowing that you can come downhill, make a hit on somebody. And that's the best part. I mean, safeties love contact. I mean, coverage is fun too sometimes, but not every time the ball's going to come your way. So coming downfield is always the best part.
And I think you took Tyler Campbell's speech at kickoff dinner to heart, because you get to hit somebody and not get any in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Yes,
Because
sir.
you definitely come up on the run. That is for sure.
Yes, sir.
And there's no doubt that you're supporting the run. I mean,
Yes,
when
sir.
we see it, it's like, here comes Ugo.
Yes, sir.
I can see it. So
Every time.
that mentality carries throughout the defense, right? Because
Yes,
you
sir.
guys feed off of one another, and it's just like when one person makes a good play, it's like all of a sudden when you walk on the field the next time, like after the interception, after the fumble, it's like you guys got out there again. It was almost to us in the booth, felt like a little bit of swagger, a little bit of confidence starting
Yes,
to
sir.
come to the defense.
Yes,
When
sir.
did you feel like it really clicked?
It really clicked coming out of halftime, knowing that we went through 2 quarters, only held them to 6 points, knowing that they went into the red zone a lot. That's when we knew that, like, hey, we can compete with these guys. We know what we're capable of. We just got to go out here, fight, and give our offense a chance. And then we do that. We're going to win the football game, and that's exactly what we did.
I like it. Coach, he's quiet, but I'm telling you what, he lets his actions speak a lot louder than his words. All right, Ugo, now comes the tough questions. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you had $1 million, what's the first thing that you buy?
Buy my mama a Lexus because that's her dream car.
Oh,
nice.
There you go.
I think Mom's happy about that. She's going to hold you to it, probably.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So when you make big time, you're in the NFL. She's going to play this recording and go, remember? Here you go. You told me.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite app on your phone right now?
My favorite app, YouTube. I just watch. I watch a lot of football videos every day. So that's my favorite thing to do. Just go out there, watch. Just watch YouTube, see what's going on around the country. So yeah.
I thought it'd be like Snapchat or Twitter.
Yeah. I'm on YouTube majority of the day, man.
Watching those football videos. So
Yeah.
you're all about football. So tell us, who's your favorite football player?
My favorite football player. It was Cam Chancellor, but he retired. So right now, I don't know. Because I got to see what the NFL season's coming up and see what, like, hard-hitting safeties they got, because those are my favorites for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Check. There we go. Hey, real quick, who's your favorite music artist?
My favorite music artist?
Yeah.
I'd say Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, every time I hear his songs come on, I'm always dancing. It's just fun to listen to him. He's a really cool artist.
Okay, now, folks that are older like me will know this reference, but and I hope this works because I had to cue it up without listening. Listen to this. Tell me this guy doesn't have the same voice just about.
For us old people, I guess. Coach Man,
I don't know who that is either.
You don't know Barry White, really?
No, I don't.
Oh my
Barry
God.
White. Oh, he's got that deep voice.
Oh, I've not heard.
Look him
You
up.
never heard of Barry White?
No,
I know I've
I've never
heard of
heard.
Barry White. I didn't know that was Barry White.
So
It's
look
a
him
good
up.
thing. It's probably a good.
That's probably a good thing. Look him up on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'll do that.
it'll be good. Okay. What's your favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject is English because I like to write. I mean, like, whenever when I'm writing something, like, I just sometimes get carried away. I just be writing. And it's just fun for me. I like to write a lot, writing stories. It's my favorite thing to do.
Okay. So do you have any plans? Like, what do you think your plans are after you graduate? Have you thought about that
After
far?
graduate, I'm gonna certainly want to go to college out in the state of Texas for sure. I'm gonna see what a good engineering school there is for me because I want to go into engineering because I like to do hands-on stuff. So I think that would be a good career for me. And yeah, just
I like it. Already has a plan.
Got a plan.
That's half the battle, isn't it, Coach?
Oh, it
Half the battle is having some sort of
Yes.
plan, not going, I think I want to go to school and I really don't know what I want to do. But you can be my age. I still don't know what I really want to do, so it's all good. All right, so final question. Do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions that you have to do before every game?
Pre-game ritual. Man, I don't know. I just put in my headphones and I just get in the zone, man. Cause that's the only thing I can really do. I think me and Isaiah are gonna have to come up with some type of handshake to do before the game because that would be really dope to do with him. So yeah, we're gonna have to do something like that to do that.
Some kind of handshake. Because I figured you're going to have to listen to the music. Everybody kind of gets in their zone. Like, Coach Mann listens to Taylor Swift, and that kind of gets him going.
Hey, T Swift's good, man.
See, I
Hey.
told you.
T Swift.
So what is that song that you go, I have to listen to that song? That's one that gets me fired up. And we may not know it. You're going to tell us, and we'll be probably
Man,
clueless.
There's a variety of songs, man. Like I just
Barry
I don't
White,
know.
maybe?
no, it's most definitely not Barry White. But I don't know. I just scroll through, and sometimes I just look up football pump-up music, and I just put that in, and I just listen, and just get me in the zone, get me ready for the game.
Maybe watch a football video with some good music behind
Yes, sir.
it, kind of visualize yourself.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Definitely.
Ugo, we appreciate you coming on and talking to us. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
And shout out my mom for coming, for helping me, for sitting here watching, and also shout out the defense, man. They're a great group of guys. They got a lot of heart, and they love to go out there and battle every play.
All right, Ugo.
Well said.
Yeah, we will see you on Friday night and be excited to just say Ugo.
Yes, sir.
That's all you hear. So it's been Ugo joining us here as a player of the week for the varsity against Vista Ridge. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, Coach,
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit about some sponsors.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Mad Training because if
Yeah.
you want to look, feel, move, and play better, Mad Training is where it's at. Tim Meyer is the official sports performance partner of Rouse Football. But we also have to talk about Richard Munoz, State Farm Insurance agent. His team, his mission is to help people manage the risk of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and realize their dreams. And then also probably a place that we may visit sometime.
I don't know. It's a Steeler place. I'm still nervous about this fan club. I don't know who got this all set up and who. I mean, anybody that cheers for the Steelers you got to wonder a little bit about them. So
Excuse me?
taking a shot at the ice man right there.
Just see if
Taking
you're
a
awake,
shot.
Chuck.
Make
Chuck
sure-
is one of the biggest
Wide awake.
Steelers fans.
No, real excited for the fan club to come on and pick us up as a sponsor this year, especially it being in our own backyard, real close to the school and campus. I like it when you got the community people that are trying to get involved, and that's really neat to have them as well as the other guys that we
you
talked about, no
have
doubt.
Mighty Fine Burgers, Rody's Barbecue, so supportive of all the things in the community, and then Bush's Chicken, who has been a sponsor probably from day one.
Oh, yeah, they do a lot for
Rouse's
Texas high school football.
They really do. Also PDQ, IT Backbone, and Chicken Express. And as we transition, Coach, we are going to bring up, and I think there was at one point during the game, because he sits right next to the booth, that Trey tried to get his attention, and I could see out of the corner of my eye he was really trying to not acknowledge him, and Trey was looking for a high five, and Coach Callie was like trying to be busy. And so I know not to bother him because I literally sit right next to him, and I thought about writing a note, fake punt, call this play, annexation of Puerto Rico.
Annexation.
Some of these
86 Muskrat.
Yeah. I was going to draw some up and then hold him up to the window, but I know not to bother him. But
Yeah.
we're going to bring him up now so that we can bother him with a lot of questions. Coach Cowling, the offensive coordinator for Rouse High School. As he makes his way up here.
You're hot. Hello, hello.
There you go. All right. So, Coach,
I move over here.
Come on in.
I'll come on in. I'll come on in.
some really thought-provoking questions. We're going to be armchair quarterbacks for a little while, okay? So in the third quarter, the second offensive series, why did you call the run play to the left? Shouldn't it have been to the right?
Probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's about as hard as they're going to get, Coach. Now, talk a little bit about some of the things you like to do away from football. Like people want to get to know you. Maybe they send you on a hunting trip if you're a hunter, or down on the coast and go fishing.
Yeah, I'm not much of a hunter. My wife and I, we were fortunate. Well, we were fortunate enough to have a lake cabin on Richland Chambers. Now, the circumstances behind us getting it were not fortunate. It was willed to my wife when her mother passed. We like to spend as much time as we can there, and we go fishing with all the old folks that live out there, and just get out on the lake and go drop the lines and try to get some crappie out. So, but other than that, I'm kind of a softie. I mean, big tough football guy, yelling and screaming and all that. But my favorite thing to do, to be honest with you, is spending time with my wife, and just whatever that looks like. Like today when I got home, we jumped in the truck and just kind of went out piddling around, had lunch, and went shopping and kind of some girly stuff. So.
I don't know what it is, Coach Man, but you find these guys, it's almost like West Texas guys. They just piddle around.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't know what piddle around.
He went to a great university.
He did?
Yes.
Which university did you go to?
The Angelo State University.
Okay.
Yep.
Coach Man just smiled.
We didn't know each other there. That was probably a good thing. That meant he was in class and
Yeah.
was studying a lot more. So,
Did you see how this works out?
I spent a lot of time in the science building.
yeah.
So
I did not spend a lot of time in the science building.
The honest truth comes out. I mean, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think that's softy. I think that's almost a Rouse mentality, because every time we talk to coaches, family is so important. And believe me, you've heard it in different programs, and I've been around different programs where they talk brotherhood, they talk family, and it's almost just lip service. I don't think that's the case, even with the coaches. And tell me if I'm wrong, Coach. I mean, there's some camaraderie there that they're almost like brothers to you.
Oh, absolutely. We spend so much time together. You go one of two ways. You either form a really solid bond, or you don't. And I've been fortunate in my career that I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but
The majority.
definitely with the guys here at Rouse. From day one, when I got moved in, we moved from the Metroplex. I didn't know really anybody, and I just got in with those guys, and it really clicked, and have made some pretty good friendships.
So talk about your playlist. What's on your playlist? Any Barry White on your playlist?
No Barry White.
Okay. Country music? What kind of? You seem like a country music kind of guy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
I'll listen to it, but I don't. It's not what's on my playlist. I'm a child of the '90s, so I'm gonna default to some early '90s grunge.
Grunge.
Yeah, and
listen-
I like a pretty eclectic mix of music anyway, but I'll listen to Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
I can relate to that. All right.
some heavier stuff too, but
Okay. Not any death metal or anything like that?
no, not any death metal.
So is that
I like
what you listen to?
I like a lot of classic rock too.
Classic, right? There you go. Now we're talking. So do you listen to that when you're on the lake and you're fishing? Like,
No,
are you listening to anything, or are you just like decompressing?
Just decompressing, yeah. Usually, what we do is we'll have the Bluetooth speaker kind of playing in the background, but it's it'll be stuff like, again, different things that I like to listen to. Like I don't even know really what genre of music it is, but like the Lumineers and some softer stuff that my wife likes and things like that.
Alternative,
Yeah.
indie, yeah.
Indie rock, I guess.
Indie rock, yeah. There you go. All right, tell us one thing that most people don't know about you. It doesn't have to be any deep dark secret. We don't need to know any of that because this is recorded.
I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I don't think. I don't know. Most people, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. So I don't know. Probably don't know that I took a 2-hour nap today.
And those are important, right?
Absolutely.
And kids, when your kids are young, they fight those naps, and they get older, they get to college, and they're like, those are golden.
You need a nap time built into every day.
Yeah.
At least 15-minute power nap.
Absolutely.
Is
Yep.
critical, but 2 hour, that's good. Even after piddling around.
Yeah,
Piddling around must have wore you out.
Yeah, I was pretty tired.
Yeah. Right. Humidity this morning, too. It was nice and humid at practice, I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It kind of broke late, but it wasn't too bad.
No, today was a good day. I think the energy of the kids was a lot better today,
Oh, it
too,
was. Great
because of the
Monday.
weather.
Yeah.
So tell us about not your favorite team. We'll get to that in a minute. Favorite sport to watch other than football? Do you have anything else that you could watch?
This may answer the other question that people don't know a lot about me. I don't watch a lot of TV. I just don't. I'll sit down and every year I'll sit down and try to fight through one Cowboy game a year, and then I realize why I don't watch them. But other sports, I like hockey a lot, to be honest with you. The Stars. When I was in college, I can remember being at ASU, and that was when they won the Stanley Cup, and my roommates and I would watch like every playoff game of every playoff series that year, and that kind of stuck with me over the years, and they're just fun to watch.
Fun to watch. Texas Stars, by the way, that are at the HEB Center, also those guys are fun to watch. They won the Calder Cup a couple years ago, which was phenomenal, and I think they got to the finals this year and lost in Game 7, I believe. So I like hockey too.
Yep.
Just because it's nice and cool in there. You don't have to worry about the heat, and they get to hit each other, and sometimes there's fights, which I think is the reason a lot of people show up. Just to watch the fight. I just kind of
fast paced.
Yeah,
those guys are tremendous athletes. Just the athleticism that they have is, I don't know that it's matched in any other sport, because you got to think they're doing all that stuff, flying around, hitting people like football. The puck is little bitty, so they're trying to track it with their hand-eye coordination, and they're doing it on skates. So.
Yeah, you just put anybody on skates. I think Coach Mann and I would probably struggle on skates.
Not getting on skates.
You ever been on skates, Coach Mann? Okay. Maybe that's something that we can do, Coach Cowling with Coach Mann one of these days, to go to the HEB Center, get on the ice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't skate, so
Hey, all the coaches. That would be a good road trip, a good field trip for you guys.
I'll supervise.
Okay.
I'll pull the head coach's card and watch.
There you go. All right, so calling the offense on Friday out of the box, how do you feel that it went during the game? Obviously, the communication issue, but how do you feel overall that that first game, getting under your belt?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was pretty nervous going into the fourth quarter. We had opportunities, and Coach Mann hit the nail on the head. The first drive, the first possession, everybody was geeked up. I didn't help matters because I wanted to take a shot, and I know that may have added to Ethan's anxiety and nervousness a little bit. I think that's why we fumbled. I think he was wanting to get the ball out and get the ball down the field. The possession that we had where we ended up kicking the field goal, there were 5 plays on that drive that when we watched the end zone shot on video and you hit pause, there was literally a hole and I'm not exaggerating. It may have been 10 feet wide, and there's one Vista player in the shot and one of our guys pulling up in there in the shot, and it's Mylan or TJ. I mean, I don't know how we didn't score on that drive. I really don't. It just baffles me because we absolutely wore their front out and that's when I knew, and I was seeing it from the box. You can't tell, where we sit. You can't tell it's that big.
Right.
But there's something there. And, from that point, I knew, okay, we're dominating their front. We're going to be fine. And like Coach Mann said, we didn't have success throwing the ball. I didn't really worry about it because that's how they were playing. They had, their outside linebackers and their corners and their safeties were matching all of our routes down the field really well. Well, in doing that, they're leaving 5 in the box. So I'll take our offensive line against 5 any day of the week. So, we just stuck to the plan and just kept grinding and kept chopping wood, really. And it was still, the third quarter went by so fast. I remember at one point I looked up and I asked Coach Bailey next to me, I said, is it the fourth quarter? Like, it just evaporated.
Yeah, it was gone.
And, I think the real turning point in the game for us offensively was we had a 4th and 2, and we actually ran one of our 2-point plays, which I jokingly said on Saturday, we wasted a 2-point play. I'll have to hang on to that one for a couple weeks until somebody forgets. Doesn't go back in time far enough to watch the Vista game, but, we ran the little sprint out where the bunch set, and we kind of hid Tavion and got him out in the flat. I think from that point on, we scored on that drive. I think we got in their head a little bit then. Then the snap over the, no pun intended, the snap over the punter's head, and it was over for them. You could just tell a difference. And we didn't, I didn't change what I was calling, but the results were just,
So talk a little bit about the offensive line because, like you said, it's kind of hard to see that. We don't have the end zone shot. It'd be nice if they could put that up on the Jumbotron, but that's maybe a wish down the road. That's a good idea, isn't it, Coach?
We'll keep that a secret.
Keep that, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to share that just yet. But talk about, because that was a question at the beginning of the season, was the offensive line. You're moving Aiden to center. Baggs is coming in, and, it's a game-time decision. And you have some new guys on the offensive line. But like you said, once it started clicking, I think it was going before that. I thought they really were winning the battle in the trenches early.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Hats off to Aiden. I mean, it's a very difficult thing. You're going into your senior year. You've always played tackle. New guy comes in and says, hey, I want to move you to center. Very difficult position to play. And he's really, really, really bought into it from day one, really. And he's owned it. I mean, he is the leader of the offensive lineman group. He's the quarterback of that group. I mean, if you can stand out on the field and just listen to all the things that he's quarterbacking the offensive line. I mean, it's not just ID in the front and, calling this combo and this and, not to give away trade secrets, but he is actually taking some of the work of the tackles away from them in as far as some of the calls go. And he's done a great job. And not only that, the dude can play. I mean, he can flat out play.
Yeah. And he's got that mean streak in him that you just
does.
love in an offensive line.
He reminds me of a young man I coached at Cedar Park where his junior year, he had an outstanding junior year, but he'd kind of be difficult to be around because they were so competitive, and then if you couldn't match his competitiveness, really didn't have time for you. And Aiden's gone from, and Aiden's always been so competitive. This year, he's had to mentor those other linemen. Mm-hmm. I mean, because we were fortunate to get Bagley back, before the game, but there's 4 other dudes out there that this is their first time, and I was worried about that because I'm like, does he have the patience? Because that's not easy. Oh. When you've been out there playing, and holy cow, is he just? It's beyond a transformation and impression that I'm so proud of him on. If no matter else what happens for him the rest of the season or his career, that's something he should always be proud of.
Absolutely, and I was just getting back to those younger guys. I mean, he does not hesitate and telling them what's what, and hey, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. And I mean, it's clear that unit is his unit.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And you look at it from a coaching standpoint. Think about him as that. Now he's more versatile, being recruited. They're going to look at him and go, he can play tackle, play center. We're going to put him at guard. And his mentality, I think, this year knowing that he's taking that leadership role on, he's going to excel wherever you put him.
Absolutely.
And I think he's, like you said, I talked to him a little bit after the game, and he's really embraced that role. And that's always good to have from an offensive coordinator standpoint. But during the game, how excited do you get to say, I'm going for the jugular on this one, and Coach Mann has to talk you down? Does he ever do that?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, he's pretty supportive so far.
It's just 1 week. Just 1 week. Wait till it gets really intense. But we did, it's good that the offense was clicking and things were going right, because that is half the battle. You get the defense that makes a stop, and now it's, okay, guys, you need to step up and do your thing. And they came through, and I think in all three phases of the game really clicked on Friday. But I think when that punt went through the snap went through the end zone, I looked at the other sideline.
They were dejected.
The wind had come out of their sail, and it was like, all you got to do is run it, and it's over. And it was Rouse's game to win, I felt at that point. But Coach, talk a little bit about having that quarterback back there. Like you and Ethan, I think, have a different kind of relationship. But I think it's because he's been around you. How much of the offense can you call and feel comfortable that he can maybe make a check or maybe do those things that as a senior quarterback is going to help him down the road?
Well, as far as what we have on, I feel confident with 100% of it with him. I mean, he can run, he can do it all. Where he gets in some trouble sometimes is he puts a lot of pressure on himself. And, case in point, the first play of the game.
Yeah. I
mean, he was ready to get that ball down the field, whereas if we just take our time and relax, set it up. But no, I'll give you for instance, I called a play on a fourth down sometime in the third quarter maybe.
That was right at the end of the third, first fourth down we went.
Yeah, and I actually called it as it was supposed to be a handoff to the running back. And Ethan, I know he got it wasn't a miscommunication. I know he got the call. And you can watch on video, the back said here to take it left. Ethan moves him over to the right, and he runs it himself and gets the first down. And that's what you want in a guy like that. The fourth down, the game's on the line. He wants the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really scold him about it, but that's what you want. I mean, kudos to him, and he got it.
His confidence high. Another thing they have a lot in common, I got a text from Ethan's dad. Ethan took a 4-hour nap, so he went up to him today.
There you go.
4 hour week.
He went up to you.
That's what these days off are about, right?
That's right.
Resting up because
Absolutely.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it just keeps rolling. Coach, we appreciate your time and your openness,
sir.
and I will promise you that I will not let Trey bother you anymore, and I will not hold up any diagrams of special plays unless you
I really wasn't trying to ignore him.
I know. I've just told him that because he gets excited and he wants to high five everybody.
When I looked over and saw his hand on the glass and the little sad puppy dog eyes, I just I went ahead and gave him the high five. But
felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
We do that for Trey sometimes.
It was a crucial part of the game. That extra high five gave me the power to continue on.
Dude, we can do that through the glass all day if you want, Coach. If that helps you.
Absolutely.
We're here to help you. That's all we're here to do.
Absolutely.
But, Coach, we appreciate your time. Anybody that you would like to give a shout-out to?
I don't know that she's listening, but just like to thank my wife for letting me sneak away for a little bit this evening, and, I'll be home soon, so we'll get to spend a little bit of time together before we get back to the grind. So.
On the music, DJing up tonight.
He's DJing some Barry White. What was
Sublime?
that, Chuck?
It was Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. There you go. I don't know any of that.
I'm adapting it to the guests. We're going to go out with some Taylor Swift, too.
No T Swift. Come on.
Who do you like, though?
Started.
Who do you like?
I'm more in the red dirt Texas country scene. Whiskey Myers, and
Stony
LaRue, Pat
Okay.
Green, Robert Earl, some of the old Highwaymen. You can go that route.
Turnpike
Okay.
Troubadours.
Turnpike's another good
Wow.
one coming up.
Yeah, West Texas, West Oklahoma. It's almost the same thing.
Red dirt.
Red dirt. That's
Red
all you
dirt
get out
music.
there.
Yep.
All right, Coach. So let's talk a little bit about upcoming opponent this week is going to be
Yep.
Austin Anderson. Offensively, what are you looking for out of them that you're going to worry about on the defensive side?
Well, it's a completely different 180 switch now. I mean, they've gone to a new offensive coordinator this year. He's brought in. He was at Pflugerville, and so he's kind of brought a little bit of the Pflugerville offense to Anderson. It's a version of a little bit of version of wing T, a little bit of version of slot T, a little bit of I. They really love to run the football. That's their MO. They want to eat the clock, run the football, limit your possessions. They're very big. They got an impressive size across the front. Quarterback's a big kid, huge fullback, probably around the 240, 250 range. And then they got two really kind of nice wings. You'll see them both line up the wing and they both line up in the I some. Kids that are not necessarily your prototypical running back, but they're strong, physical kids that run really hard, and they do some good things. And it's one of those offenses you have to be very disciplined on defense. There's not a lot of opportunity to shift and move and overstem. I mean, you can. There's a couple things we're obviously going to always have in that will try to mess their rules up, but it's old school physical football. This is what we do. There's not a big complexity to what they are. But you got to stop it, and it's in your face. And every now and then, they played McCallum, who's obviously coming off a record year. They're a young team this year, but it turned into they were stopping the run, and the next thing you know, they throw the ball out there and they get a touchdown off a big play, and then they threw another little screen, and kid looked like he should have been tackled for a 4-yard loss. I think 8 kids hit him. And boom, he's gone touchdown. So we got to be very accountable, disciplined. We got to be tackling. Physical. 11 guys to the ball tackle. They do put it on the ground some. They've had trouble in the scrimmages with some of the exchanges. When you're multiple faking, as new as that offense is, there's opportunities for turnovers. We got to really be aggressive there and go take advantage of that.
So stopping the run is going to be probably one of the keys to the game this week.
Yeah, they're 89% run overall as a team. They threw the ball 4 times. They threw it late because they fell behind at the last second. It was a great game. They're up 20-7, 10 minutes left, on a little less than 10 on the clock, 4th and 1 on the goal line. They score, game over. McCallum gets a stop in 2 plays. McCallum scores, and then they get a turnover, score, and win the game. It looked like it was Anderson's game all the way, and then it just fell late. So they're definitely going to be hungry for that.
Definitely going to be hungry for that win on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Actually, probably been a good question for our offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you let him off the hook.
I let him off
what
the hook.
Heck?
But from an offensive standpoint, obviously the jitters should be gone, right? First game jitters. We're going to Nelson Field.
Oh, yeah. I think now everybody's got it. It's the same version, a little bit of what we got to see this last week. They're basically a 3-4 scheme. So I think we can anticipate some things that Vista did well against us. They're going to probably mimic that and do it against us and see what they can. I definitely think that they're going to have to probably, after what we showed that we will do, run the ball. I think we can expect a little more in the box. So I'm anticipating a lot of opportunities maybe to throw the ball around a little bit more this week. I like our matchup big time on the offense versus their defense. I think it's one reason why I think they're in the wing tee and running what they do is because it limits your possessions and that limits their defense on the field. And so offense, when they are on the field, because they will have drives. They're going to get 3, 4, 3. Eventually we'll get, if you get them second and long, you got them in a good spot where it'll take us maybe a series or 2 to get that. When we're on offense, we got to go because you don't know. You may not get that ball back to the next half. They will eat that clock. So when we're on offense, we got to capitalize. I'm not going to say we can't afford a slow start, but we don't need a slow start. We need to get after it early.
Okay. Well, Coach, it's a 7:30 game.
Yeah,
right?
7:30. We're old school this week. Throwback,
and that's going to be.
I like the 7 o'clock kickoffs, though. I know it's not traditional, but man. It's just something about it's nice. You don't have to wait. Feels like all day to play. You get out of school. It's time to get on the bus. It's time to go.
Go.
But we're back at 7:30. So this will be our only 7:30 this week. Thursday night we do have a little bit of change of schedule that went out to our community. But our freshmen are going to play at 5. They only have 1 freshman team, and with where our numbers are this week, we feel like that's what we need to do as well. So we're going to play 1 freshman at 5 at Rouse, and then our JV is going to play right after. They wanted to.
they had some issues down there, and they wanted to come up play both sub-varsity games here. So we said, yeah, heck yeah, we don't have to get on a bus. You bet.
Absolutely.
I think our coaches were real excited that we're supposed to drive down there in the Yellow Dogs through Austin. Don't have to do that now. So that's a little reward for them.
There you go. Little reward this week. So 5 for the freshmen, and then 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30ish. That
for the JV.
Depending on how that freshman game goes, it may be 6:15 and it could be 7:15. You never know.
Never know. But you can also find the information on rousefootball.com.
Yep.
Find it on Twitter. Coach Elrod does a great job. I think
Absolutely.
He's with the social media aspect of it. But 7:30, so we will have our pregame starting at 7 o'clock from Nelson Field. So we're going to ask that Raider Nation travel well. It's not that bad of a drive, especially that late in the evening.
Yeah.
Now, if you're traveling at 5 o'clock, a little bit different story. But getting down there in Raider Nation, you could feel the energy. When I was down there talking to you before the game, you could definitely feel the excitement in the air. And Raider Nation did a great job. The cheer, the Royals, the band, everybody.
How was that for you, pregame, being in the locker room?
It was interesting.
Not what you thought, huh? A little calmer, huh?
A little calmer than I thought, but I'm hoping that maybe one of these times I'll get to go in at halftime. That's when the real fun's going to start.
It's usually a lot calmer even, too. Everybody wants to know, like, oh, my God, what y'all doing? Like, we talked to them about our checks, and let's go out and play the second half. I mean,
well, we could always, Coach, we could always say we recorded it, and we'll sell it to you if this is what your team wants to do. This is, magic in a bottle,
there
right?
There you go. That'd be a good fundraiser.
Yeah, it'd be a good fundraiser. We'll just sell you this audio clip of Coach Mann and how he motivated his team to come out and score 31, how many points?
31 in the fourth quarter,
yeah.
Which is I think I haven't done the math and gone to the books yet, but that might be up there for most points in a quarter by Rouse. And it could have been a lot worse. I mean I know we talked about it, but I had no doubt that could have happened in the first. I mean that potential was there, and once it I think that's going to be the catalyst that you're going to see several weeks now continue with. So I'm excited about it.
All right, Coach, before we close here tonight, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Go back to the head honcho at home, Miss Brandy Mann.
boss.
Happy birthday again! Can't wait to be home. Don't eat that Oreo cake till I get there.
Wow.
That was like part of my gift. The boys, if we can keep Judson out of it. Judson was like eyeing that thing since I walked in the house with it from lunch. We got some peach ice cream, some chicken in the oven, so we're about to eat up big at the house. And shout out to my family back at home, and really go back to. I was really impressed. Friday night. I mean, again, we talked about it going in that game, but if you would have saw everything that was going on behind the scenes, our booster club they were all over the place, and they pulled it off. And that's not easy to do right out the gates. Everybody always wants that away game, to be honest, because it gives you one more week to are we sure we're ready for all this? And there's so many awesome people in that group that are doing so many great things, so I appreciate them. And then shout out to the band and the Royals and the cheers. I mean, wow, they that's their first run at it, and I didn't feel like that was from like starting the game and kicking off, like there was outside of us, there was no other glitches, and so that was an amazing job. And appreciate you guys at KMAC and Vype, the job that y'all are providing for us. Really neat. I think it's continued to grow, and it's what an opportunity these kids get by having to answer questions and interviewing and going through that process and getting comfortable speaking in front of people, because our theme of this week is communication, and so being able to communicate with one another is a big tool in today's world. So I'm proud of our young men, and just proud of everybody that was a part of Raider Nation this last week.
Yeah, now if we could just get Sonny to learn how to communicate, it would be all right.
I know. I mean, baby steps.
I know, right? It's been 5 years. It's bigger the next 2 years.
You dress them, you put them in the, we'll get them
right?
in.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Hang in there, Sonny. Come on, babe.
Okay. I'm going to have to hang out. Coach Calling, if you see the puppy dog look at me, just a little high five. Yeah, it's because I have to put up with Chuck. No, but K-Mac definitely.
Wow. Coach, are you interested in a new play-by-play guy next week?
I mean, I had the Iceman for many playoff games. I'm not afraid of bringing him back.
Exactly. I remember those days, yeah? Anyway, we're going to move on. But, Coach, it's definitely good for those kids, but it's also good, that relationship, because you get to know them. Oh, yeah. You see them, and you think, I want to know the kid inside the helmet. And to know these kids, I mean, like Ugo, engineer, and he's got a plan, and it's wow, some of these kids just amaze you, but it's when you get them to talk. And so I think that's the big key. And we enjoy having them. Just like next week, we're going to have Vype kids here, and we enjoy having those kids because they are so honest, just brutally honest. And you get the truth out of them. And it just, like you said, it steals the show. But it's also about the community that we're trying to build with KMAC and part of Vype Media Group now. And so things are just going to keep getting better. But I have to tell you, yes, about pregame, that was a treat for me. And we're going to continue to do that because I've got some great clips that it is nothing bad. I mean, it's coming from your heart. I know that. And those kids, just to see the look in their eye when they're listening to you, it was fun to watch that because then they went out and performed like they did. And I know that they were happy. We talked to a couple of them after the game. Chance, we called him the screen killer because I don't know why they kept running that play because it was one time that he said he got caught on it, and then after that, it was just like he knew it was coming.
Thank God he did because I don't think anybody else on the defense did, and if he doesn't make that play, we may not be talking about the same topics right now. He saved our tail on those. He did a great job.
But it's good to be part of that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Coach, we appreciate that. So as we wrap up, we're going to go back to our DJ. DJ, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Of course.
No.
Absolutely.
He's got some good music.
Listen nice. Yep.
So for KMAC Sports President, our producer today, what a treat that is to have Chuck Licata producing, our Director of Operations, Merle Bertrand, who's also our QA back at KMAC Studio, Communications Director Christina Weber, Technical Director Suna Venkat, and for Head Coach Josh Mann, I'm Sonny Zapeta, Voice of the Raiders, saying until next time, good night and God bless. Thank you for listening to KMAC Sports Vype Media Network.
This is the KMAC Sports Network.